It was a typical morning at the airport, passengers hustling, announcements echoing overhead, and the aroma of coffee wafting in from a nearby cafe. But as I stood by the gate, I couldn't shake the feeling that something felt off. My father, a man of quiet dignity, was being confronted by a gate agent. In front of a scattering of onlookers, she was dismissing his first-class reservation, a seat he'd booked and paid for. There was this look in her eyes like she believed he didn't belong there, and that moment cut deeper than any criticism. I watched as he stood there, a tall, proud figure, a quiet strength radiating from him. Yet at that moment I could see the weight of judgment crashing down on him. Other passengers were sneaking glances, some whispering to each other, their faces a mix of disbelief and disdain. It wasn't his first encounter with situations like this, far from it. Years of navigating a world that seemed all too eager to label him and box him in had hardened him. He was resilient, though, having learned long ago to carry himself with a quiet confidence. What they didn't know, what my father carried silently, was that his son was the CEO of JetDream Airlines. That knowledge hung in the air like a tightly coiled spring, waiting for the right moment to snap. And there I was, watching and waiting, my heart racing. Then, as if the universe had conspired to make a point, I arrived. There I was, Miles Carter, dressed in a tailored suit sharp enough to cut glass. I walked into the scene and instantly felt the shift in energy. The gate agent's posture stiffened. Someone had entered who could change everything. "Excuse me," I said smoothly, drawing closer. "What seems to be the problem?" "My father has a first-class ticket." The words came out with a calm authority, and I could see the sudden panic in her eyes. It was like I could feel the collective breath hold as the surrounding passengers leaned in, intrigued. "He was booked incorrectly," she stammered, clearly flustered by my imposing presence. "I'm sorry, sir. There's nothing I can do." But I wasn't budging. "Nothing you can do. His name is Walter Carter. Check again." The tension soaked the atmosphere. Every eye was on us. As the agent scrambled for her tablet, I reached out to my father, who wore a mask of indifference, but I could see the flicker of relief behind his eyes. "Don't worry, Dad," I whispered. "We'll get this sorted out." With each passing moment, I could feel the anger brewing within me, not just for this incident, but for all the experiences that had defined my father's life. Looking around, I thought back to my father's upbringing in Briar Creek, Georgia, an area where opportunities were scarce and prejudice lurked around every corner. He'd worked as a janitor, scrubbing floors and cleaning offices, never complaining. He taught me how to hold my head high regardless of what the world threw at us. Dignity and self-respect, he'd always say, are earned, not given. It was those lessons that propelled him into a better life, earning a scholarship and building a career. All while supporting my dreams in aviation, the path I was now successfully walking, albeit with much skepticism and doubt from others. As the gate agent finally hesitated, looked up and stammered out my father's name, I could see her realization wash over her like a tide. She had just denied my father, a man whose blood had paved the way for so many. A moment later, she cleared her throat, her voice quivering. I, I'm so sorry, Mr. Carter. We can accommodate you right away." But that was only half satisfying. I could see it wasn't just an apology. It was the reminder of something deeper needing to change. An entire culture buried within the industry that tended to overlook the people who needed recognition the most. After that day, I took action. I initiated an audit of our airline's operations. What we uncovered was systemic bias statistics that revealed that Black and brown passengers faced a plethora of challenges that too often went ignored. They had become numbers easily minimized in favor of profits and prestige. In the months that followed, my team and I revamped our policies. We brought in diversity training, committed to real accountability, and making sweeping changes that would address the injustices laid bare in that audit. And it didn't stop there. Inspired by my father's journey, we created a scholarship program in his name, a beacon for the next generation of minority students eager to break into aviation. Fast forward, and now we've helped dozens of students realize their dreams, each graduation ceremony, recounting stories of struggle and triumph that echo my father's resilience. I often reflect on how these changes have reshaped our airline, sparking much-needed dialogues about inclusivity and respect, changing the industry for good. Yet as I look back, I can still feel the weight of that day, the way my father's heart swelled with pride and resilience despite the world's judgment. That evening over dinner, I asked him how he felt about everything that had happened. Son, he said, a glimmer in his eye, I always knew I'd face obstacles. But today showed me that the fight isn't just mine anymore. I can't change the past, but I can help shape the future. His words echo in my mind. There's so much more to do, so many conversations left to be had, so many discriminations left to confront. And now I turn to you peering into the comments. How have you navigated similar situations? Have you seen injustice in your own life? And how did it make you feel? What changes do you think are necessary to combat the bias that still lingers in society? Let's discuss. I want to hear your stories, your experiences, because it's in sharing and listening that we can truly create a world where everyone has a seat at the table. And remember, using your power to uplift others isn't just a responsibility, it's a privilege. So let's keep this dialogue alive.